Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Stevens, an innovation coach with Keep Indiana Learning, here with my favorite troublemaker, Mr. Paul Shircliff from Bloomington, Indiana, our Uplands Maker Mobile expert. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Absolutely. I know that we got a conversation started, and that conversation was no trouble at all, but it was all about making. And I got to thinking, if I want to hear some more, and some of my teacher friends had shared with me, hey, Amy, I'd love to hear some more from you and Paul. Then what could we talk about? And I was so incredibly honored that together you and I were able to come up with a really great list of topics. And today's topic is all about mindset and culture, two things that I know a lot of schools do discuss, but specifically with being a maker. And so, a question that I have for us and our audience today is, what does it mean to have a maker mindset and culture? And is it just about crafting, or is it about creating and really truly expanding this vibrant culture of innovation and creativity in our schools? And so today I just thought we could talk a little bit about a plan and, some ideas and just honestly some really good, juicy content that can help our teachers, staff, and students know more about what it means to develop and maintain a maker mindset and culture.
Mindset is the important thing. It's the core because the best maker space is between the ears. It's the brain. It's the mind, and so creating that mindset will help people for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. I changed one of my billboards, hello, like my hallways, like an interstate, one of my bulletin boards into like growing your mindset. And it's something that I've talked about for a long time with students, but I took it outside of my classroom and put it into the hall because I thought, you know what, as kiddos are walking by this, as teachers are walking by this, as families are walking by this, I would really love for them to see, what does it mean to grow your mindset, right? So what
Yeah.
are some things that come to mind for you in encouraging teachers as they're working with children in mindset, specifically when it comes to making?
Well, one of the things is failing. You have to develop the resilience to fail because the first time you go to make something, it's not going to work. It's not going to come together right. The first time you use a tool, it's not going to work right. It's not You're not going to know how to use it. So being able to deal with that failure, and years ago people came up with fail just means first attempt in learning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like one of the first things to get kids comfortable with and get teachers comfortable with, because teachers are not comfortable with failure. We don't like that concept. So we got to get better with it. So that's one of the first ones, failing, because we're not going to fail forever. It's like you're going to iterate, you're going to repeat, you're going to try, and you're going to get better at it, which is called learning. And so that's the point behind that. And so developing that kind of a mindset where you're going into something, it's not going to be a one and done. It's going to be, I'm going to work on this and fail and make mistakes and come back at things. And what is Thomas Edison's quote? It's I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways not to make the light bulb. Yeah. So you've got to work through that.
Yes, I love that. And I mean, you and I, because we are around children and we are around, anywhere from 5 to 25 and adults all the time. What happens when kids develop that maker mindset? You found a really great graphic that I'd love to share with our audience that just kind of, just gives that broad visual concept of what you were just talking about. And I think one of the things that popped out to me right off the bat was that sense of empathy. And, something that I do in my classroom, and I know you already do just from being around you and some of the family events, but then also with some of the college students too, is creating that safe space to fail and to be able to say, like, oh, I can see where you're coming from. I want to be there. I want to support. I want to help you grow. And then just again about being thinkers and strategy sharers, if you will, if that's even a word.
And this graphic is from John Spencer, and it shows so much about why we want to develop the maker mindset, because of all the benefits from it. Like you said, empathy, which we really need our kids to get more of that. Explorers, they become different. They explore their differences and revel in their differences, and that's very important, because no two people are alike.
Right.
Creative, and just the idea they get more engaged. And I had a conversation with a teacher about trying to incorporate some maker into English, and I said, well, what if spending this time just got your kids more engaged in the stuff you were doing? And the teacher actually said, no, that wouldn't help. Like, okay, I guess this conversation isn't going anywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Engagement is what we want. So helping them develop the mindset, and the mindset gets developed little by little. It's not one big, here's one lesson and you will develop your maker mindset. It's just little things at a time, at intervals that kind of build that mindset.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that, because one of the things that I saw was that a maker mindset is like this approach to learning, right? And it highlights creative problem solving, embracing failure, like you said, learning through experimentation, hands-on exploration. I mean, as a former kindergarten teacher, I'm kind of like, okay, y'all, like everything you learn in kindergarten, you know for life, but there's so much hands-on going on there. And I can't help but think that when I'm walking through hallways in high schools and maybe some upper grade level buildings, I'm hoping that that's happening outside of maybe the natural spaces where it would occur, like a science lab or maybe like, a welding bay or something. But one of the things that really sparked my interest in that micro mindset was that collaborative innovation and making sure that in your culture, in your mindset, definition, that you're thinking of creating spaces that spark collaboration and innovation, right?
Collaboration is a natural side effect of maker. You're always looking to try something better, and you're always looking at somebody else's work and say, wow, maybe I should try that. And so go talk to them about that. Or, oh, you see somebody struggling with something that you did, so that you naturally go and help. And it's such a great thing. I remember one time I was teaching a 7th grade class, and there's those students who really struggle with school in general. And I had one student that was that way, but we were doing the project, and he had done like through step 5, I'll just say, and there were more steps. And I was talking with someone near him about what they had done, what they had learned, and they had done like step 3 and step 4. And I was like, okay, what's next? And they said, well, step 5. And the other student heard that and just on his own just said, I can help them with that. And I was like, yeah, go. And it was so great, because one, they had struggled in school, never really found, and here they were going to help somebody, and they offered on their own. And like, well, that's the collaboration that just naturally comes through maker and building the mindset that I like to say, we say in a maker space, everybody is a teacher and everybody is a learner. And it's so important to get to there.
Just that curiosity driven learning. A lot of times, I know that there's some programs out there that are like, what do you wonder? But years ago, I had a 3rd grade teacher in my building that had she covered up like a closet door with just a really bright colored paper. And then there was a Post-it note basket next to it. And it was just that wondering, right? Like what do you wonder? And she added to it. So she was modeling that. And I thought, oh, how cool to be able to start that and by just simply by modeling it, right? So
Mhm.
think about talking to our audience and thinking about, students and staff and administrators, and just like how do you build this culture? Like, how do you strengthen this mindset? One of the things that I know you and I did together in my building was we held almost kind of like an awareness session where, for a whole day, like you were set up in one of our community collaborative space rooms, and students and teachers could kind of come, like, check out who you are and like what this is, and then get some ideas of how you don't have to be there to do that. Like, this could happen in your room, right? So just kind of like making people aware. Obviously, because you were from and have been a part of other schools, sharing success stories is always huge to kind of create that culture, create that mindset.
Mhm.
Um, you kind of did this with me, but like identified some early adopters, and so forth. But what are some other things that students and teachers and staff can do right off the bat just to introduce a maker mindset and culture to their building?
It starts with little things that are not tied directly to the curriculum, because I always hated as a kid when I'd go into English class and say, today we're going to do creative writing. Like, I can't flip a switch and do that just today, kind of thing. Well, that's why we're talking about culture. You want to build the culture of creativity, innovation, curiosity. So it starts not at the classroom door, it starts in the hallways. And there's lots of examples of things that I share with people. Throw up any of those couple of pictures that we've got. So yes, I up in the top right on our stage, I had the kids paint a green screen. Said, here you go. Here's the back wall. Paint it green. Use it for whatever you want to use it for. Because they could go into the auditorium almost any time, that
Wow.
they needed to. On the left, someone that put out a origami station just in the hallway. Just said, here's instructions on how to do this special origami, and here's the paper. Grab one and try it. Someone has a table of straws and connectors, just for kids to just free build. So it's like that passing periods, when they're going through. A graffiti wall. Somebody actually put a graffiti wall outside their cafeteria. It was an outdoor wall that they covered and for kids to graffiti. And yes, if you do a graffiti wall, you have to watch the graffiti, because you never know what's going to show up there. But giving them that creative outlet that they can just pop there for 30 seconds. Pool noodles are great materials. That's someone's idea of a pool noodle light bright. That just cut a bunch of different colored pool noodles and got a big board and put holes the right size in there for kids to just create designs little by little.
How cool.
There's so many little things you can do. I have a picture with the computer parts in there. That there was an administrator actually who put a broken down computer in what used to be the trophy case and said, put it together and come show me that it works. And so kids, when they're going back, going past, would put parts together and then take it to him and said, hey, it works. And I don't know if they got an ice cream or something. Then he said, okay, now take it apart again for the next person. So that, and on the right, that was one of my doors that I just bought magnet tiles and put them on my door and just left them there. And kids were always changing the design, switching the colors. Yes, some of the magnet tiles disappeared. But it's just ways for them to just be creative, curious, and innovative at random times all the time. We don't do enough of that. We take too much of learning and close it behind the classroom door.
Yeah.
And just leave it, say it's only there. It's like, no, your whole school needs to be a maker space. your whole school building, even the outside, the exterior, the playground needs to be showing this creativity and curiosity and innovation, just avenues for kids to do stuff. And you can find any avenue. Some people do, instead of a Lego wall, just a Lego table, whatever. And that can work all the way up through high school. This is not just elementary stuff. You want to, maybe you have to change some of the things for the older kids. But they want those outlets also.
Yes. Well, I'm seeing like a physical space. I'm seeing simple, accessible, parts, projects. But then also, I love this idea where, if you just kind of put a Lego piece up there, you take some chalk and add to the wall, or you stick one part of the pool noodle in a spot. It's generating that that idea of collaboration, and you have to physically be there with a partner to start and end something. That project is ongoing, right? Like that iteration. And so I think about digitally, in the Scratch world, that we always are like remix. Somebody can take your project and they can add or change something, and you may not think that it's better, but it's been enhanced because someone else got to help and expand it. I know that, obviously there in any culture and mindset, conversations, there are always going to be challenges, and there's going to be, ups and downs and so forth. So truly, while you're teaching the ups and downs and to expect that with kids, you want to make sure that with your staff, you're saying like, now listen, I'm going to need you to model this as well too, please. So maybe have you ever seen a building where there's been maker challenges for staff? I know you're talked about for students, but have you ever seen those for staff?
I have not yet. And that's a great thing, like you said, because we need to model what our students go through and what we want the students to do.
Yeah.
I've tried to talk to some schools about doing that, and they just, it's building the mindset and the culture. How many years does it take? 3 to 5 years to shift a culture. And who is it? Is it Peter Drucker, I think, that said, culture eats strategy for breakfast?
Yes.
And you could have all the strategies you want, but if your culture is not going to accept any of that stuff, you're just banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
So you got to, and you build it little by little. I have a colleague up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who several years ago went to a new school, and he said, we've been building the culture one day at a time, one little thing at a time. And that's what it takes. And they're more of they're a bilingual STEM school. Not so much a STEM school, but they're big. His focus is STEM. He said he just keeps sharing little things that they do for the kids, and the kids are doing so much with it after it's been like 3 years, maybe 4 years. The kids, he said, now just doing so much. We're fixing people's eyeglasses in the middle of class because broke, I can fix that, and grab a tool and go fix it. And but it takes time, and that's one of the hard things for me is the time, because I don't take that long to shift my thinking.
Right.
I've just always been that way. Finding the new thing, finding a thing that's going to help kids and trying it and seeing if it works. But most people take longer to process the idea, to see if it's worth their time. Because as you said, we don't want teachers to have to do more. We just want teachers to do different.
Well, and some things that are, some building blocks for success that we see in many different, areas in a school environment, or, just to make sure that they're supportive, obviously, is that getting your departments to talk, getting your grade levels to talk, that professional learning community time, where if you don't know that someone else is talking about maybe a similar topic or something that could be related, then then you can't bridge it. And that could be so cool for students to see that their teachers are working together, the departments are working together, and so forth. But then most importantly, outside of the communication, that documentation. I mean, you were just able to share some really great photos with us of things that you've documented, and celebrating is so important too. So making sure you've got those cheerleaders, those champions for success in your buildings.
And you also need to, besides having the space, the places that we shared about things for kids to do, you also need to showcase the stuff the kids are doing in class.
Yeah.
It's got to get outside of your room. It's got to get into the trophy cases that still have trophies from 1970. It's got to get onto hallways. I hate schools that have these pristine white walls that no one's allowed to touch, no one's allowed to hang anything on. As like you're wasting learning space by doing that.
I love that you just said that, because I even like see it in restaurants too, like the graffiti wall, like by the hostess table.
Yeah.
Just allowing people to just be creative and to talk and again, to collaborate, if you will, while you're waiting on a table. When I think about like success strategies, I don't want anybody to really, in our audience, to think that maker spaces or the idea of making is just this like trendy thing that we're talking about now. Like, I mean, I really do want to think that there are so many amazing long-term benefits. And so, some success strategies that I was thinking about for when you do think about implementing the idea of being a maker yourself, and then having that maker space mindset, culture, just knowing that it takes time to find, your people that are champions, that are not only going to lead and inspire. Like, you're one of those people for me. They don't have to be within your four walls, but building a community partnership too. Something that I have found that is so cool is, just because a parent found out that I was asking for these little twisty ties, they had an excess of them at their company, and they were like, oh, we can donate these. And the second that the students knew that someone outside of our walls was interested in what they were doing, it was like, what? And so now, we're constantly wanting to build those partnerships with our community leaders so that we can just not only expand and grow what we're doing and share it out, but feel like we've got that authentic audience. And I don't know, I mean, I've even known some of our community members to want to come in and participate in some of these projects and activities as well, because they themselves are like, wow, like this is so incredible.
Yeah, building that network is important. You've got to get outside your classroom. You got to get outside your building. And like you said, the community partners, we've talked about community partners in schools for decades. And I don't think we've gotten any better at it. And we need to, like you said, we need so much little stuff that someone's got an excess of that could give them to you.
Yeah.
You've got to, just little by little. And it's, like I said, culture takes little steps at a time. Developing the maker mindset is just little steps at a time, but it's taking those steps. That's the important. As you get started, find a partner in crime that's you can bounce things off of. It's always important for most people to do something with somebody else because they have for support.
Absolutely. And just in summary, as we think about anybody that might be new to thinking of this, and then those that may already be doing this and are thinking, gosh, I wish more teachers in my building did this, just think about why be a maker. And in our case, why be a troublemaker? And then, introduce, make others aware, whether it's within your four walls or outside. And then, do a little learning and a little training just to get freshened up and to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. You can kind of alleviate some misconceptions of what being a maker means. Try some projects, right? And then
Mhm.
see how they go. Building the culture. I love the idea of the tables out in the hall. Like get your community, whether again that's within your four walls or the actual community coming in. Get them working together, get them creating together, right? And then make those little tweaks, those little adjustments, and of course celebrate. uh,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I'm so glad though that you did say that 3 to 5 years to like really kind of get it going, learn from your mistakes, continue to grow, because by then it's almost kind of like a self-driving car. It's just kind of
Yeah.
on autopilot.
That's the goal, is that culture is not one person that then leaves and everything falls apart. Culture is everybody that, and it we kind of pushes itself forward, like you said.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for leaving us with that, because I do want everybody to take this conversation and possibly share it and be thinking, how can you really stoke that maker mindset and culture, either within yourself, with your team, within, your building, or within your school community or education community. Paul, thank you so much, as always, for your time and your expertise, and for being, a mentor of mine, a mentor maker of mine. I can't wait to see what more trouble we get into. I know some of our upcoming topics are going to revolve around the storage and organization, as well as just, some different, I want to say, the messy ways of making, and then also making sure that we talk a little bit about that cross curricular conversation too. So keep tuning in to Keep Indiana Learning. Again, I can't wait to keep having my good friend Paul back with me so that we can inspire and just hopefully get that conversation of being the very best troublemaker you can be in not only your classroom, but in your education community. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.